Hello everyone, so we have some satellite imagery of Sevastopol, confirming damage caused by storm shadow strikes. First, let's get to the ships. So, I have a couple of satellite images for you to look at here. Here is the first image to look at. Let's have a look at the ship on the right first. So this is a Ropucha-class landing craft, and you can see a crater on the dock just to the left of it. So, unfortunately, the strike on this one missed, but it was very close. It may have obtained shrapnel damage, given how close the storm shadow strike was, but I think the damage caused would be minor, I think. But this ship certainly got quite lucky. It had a very narrow escape, a few feet to the other side, and this would have been a direct hit. Our second Rapua is looking more promising. Now, firstly, look at the dry dock itself. You can see a black mark. Some people online are saying that this is damage where a storm shadow hit. I think this looks more like old discolorization unrelated to storm shadow. I could be wrong though, and it could be an impact, but I don't think this is. I think it's just a misleading discolorization on the dock of the dry dock. Now the Rapua. You can see that this one looks to be leaking oil, and it's being supported by 3 tugboats who are guiding it into a dry dock. It also appears to be listing to one side slightly. So, this Rapua certainly seems to have taken some damage. It didn't enter submarine status, but it's certainly damaged and on its way to a dry dock for repairs. You can see the dock is full of water ready for it. So this Rapua is going to be out of action for a while. Now on this image, I can't see any impact holes to the ship itself, but it is hard to tell given its satellite imagery. I wonder if the storm shadow here again impacted next to it, but this time caused enough damage for it to put a hole in its side, cause it to leak oil, and cause it to start listing. So much so that it needs to be rapidly moved to dry dock, as we can see here. Our next image isn't as clear. This shows one identified as being the Azov, a before from the 22nd and an after on the 24th. There's a possible impact point on its port side. It's hard to tell though, as this satellite imagery is not the clearest. It could just be shadows, but this one is certainly looking a bit promising, and we're going to have to wait for another satellite image of this area to be certain, or of course, photos from the ground. One ship damaged and entering dry dock. We don't know how badly, but certainly it needed to be quickly moved to a dry dock for repairs and was supported by tugs, so it couldn't move under its own power. One miss landed on the dock next to it, and one Rapua with possible damage but unknown. Now yesterday, Russian sources also reported damage was caused to the Ivan Ker's intelligence ship. There's no satellite imagery showing that at this time, so we are going to have to wait until we get more information on the Ivan Ker's to be sure. Now let's check out the communication centre that was hit. This one you may remember was hit by 3 storm shadows. On screen now is the before, and here the after. So the strike caused 2 massive holes in the roof of a building, both next to each other, so they merged into one big hole. Yesterday we saw photos from the outside of burning and scorch marks outside of the building itself. So this strike caused a pretty bad internal fire, even though the building itself is still standing. This was reported by Ukraine as being a communication centre. Some Russian Telegram pages reported it as being a camouflage headquarters and also said a number of officers may have been inside at the time. This is located on the site of a former Ukrainian army base, and you can see here that the building was showing as being civilian. So, Russia moved into it and started operating from it, which I guess is why this is called by Russian sources a camouflaged communication centre, as it was in a civilian building. I assume they moved into it after the old communication centre was destroyed by a storm shadow last year. So Ukraine found out about it and decided to give this one a malleting with storm shadow as well. Here's its location in Sevastopol overall. Now yesterday, it was also reported that 3 Su-27 aircraft were damaged at Belbek airfield. So far, we don't have satellite imagery from there yet, so there could be more information to come. But here, so far, certainly the communication centre is certainly not going to communicate anymore. And one Rapua is certainly damaged, given it's supported by tugs, heading to dry dock and leaking oil. One storm shadow missed, hitting the dock next to the ship, and one is at a current unknown status. So that's it for this video. Hope you found it interesting. I'll do an update if we get more information. Now, before we finish, a quick mention about United 24's new news channel, United 24 News. If you could give them a subscribe, I would appreciate it a lot. A link is in the description, or, if this works, you should be able to click the button on screen now to go to it. Thanks very much for watching, and take care everybody.